Hi, this is Matt Fig from Financial Life Planners, and this is your stock market update for August 27th, 2024. Uh, Not a ton of news in the market this week, but we do have some big news from Jackson Hole. So I'll be showing you today what the market's done this past week, as well as what we learned from Powell talking in Jackson Hole this past week. So we'll go right to the charts right now. All right, and starting out like I always like to start out with you guys, looking at the S&P 500. You can see down here is where we had that little scary pullback that we had all in one day, which is normal and healthy as you see a couple others, but in one day it's a little scary. But a perfect V-shape recovery out of that and looking like we're hitting those old highs that we were hitting before. So good news there. And then we'll look real quick at the NASDAQ as well. And here you see the Nasdaq, very similar looking to the S&P. And you see that high that we hit again at the beginning of August, end of July, and that pretty quick drop off right down here, and V-shaped recovery, very similar to the S&P. Not quite at the old high that it was at before, but still solid recovery nonetheless. Trading a little sideways since we hit that right under 1800 mark, but very similar to S&P, looking strong off of that pullback that we had a couple weeks ago. So, as many of you know, this past Friday, the Fed held a conference in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where Chairman Powell announced that it is finally time for some rate cuts, which is great news, things we've been waiting for a long time. And I wanted to talk to you guys today very briefly about what to expect following these rate cuts. So, we're going to look at a historical chart of what happens after slow and fast rate cuts and what to expect in the NASDAQ. And looking at this chart, there is a lot of data to digest, but we won't go into the nitty-gritty of it all. The part that I'm going to direct you to is over here, looking at the NASDAQ and showing a slow rate cut, meaning a cut similar to what we're expecting right now, about 0.25%, and the how the NASDAQ has performed after those rate cuts. So historically, after a 1 month, generally looking around 3%. 3 months has averaged in the past 17%. 6 months right around 27%. So seeing a pretty solid growth rate after those cuts in the past. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to happen going forward, but this slow rate cut generally has meant solid growth in the Nasdaq uh, over the past couple slow cuts that we've done. And so some good news there. Ultimately, though, we're still waiting on when the cut's going to happen and by how much. Everyone's pretty much like we've been saying for a while now, expecting it to be in September, but waiting on a couple more jobs reports data before they firmly say this is happening on September 31st for the Fed meeting then. That's all I have for you guys this week. As always, feel free to reach out to us if you have any comments, questions, or concerns. You could shoot an email over to us or give us a call, and we'll be talking to you next week. Okay, bye-bye.